Hello my scrappy friends and welcome back to my channel today. This share is for Scrap the Boys and the next shot is going to show you the fun mood board that we're working with. I was inspired by, for some reason, the city scene made me think of superheroes, and so this is the page I'm scrapbooking. So I'm going to start, I'm using the Heidi Swap Wolfpack collection, and you can see I've started with background paper and some alphabet stickers. I've done some work off camera, and this is my cameo mat. You can see this wood grain paper I have cut a border out of because I knew I wanted to mount that darker colour onto the lighter wood grainy pattern here. And I created my own cut file. Full props to those of you that do it all the time. This was way more complicated than I thought it should be, but I am no expert, so I'm going to leave it up to the experts from here on out, I think. So yeah, I've made the word superheroes, and I'm going to back that with some of the papers from the 6x6 paper pad, but you can see here I have this is basically the bones of how my page is going to come together. I'm using a combination of different alphabets here. I wanted to go with the white alphas. I thought that was a really good way to make it pop. And you can see here I'm just cutting off little rectangles out of my 6x6 paper pad, and you can see I'm just using the letter to cut roughly the size I need, and I'm sticking that behind so that I get a pretty good idea of what my cut file is going to look like. And then I'm going to back each of the letters with each of these patterns. I was originally going to trace each letter, and then I changed my mind and I decided I was just going to start gluing them down and then trim them out after they were dry. So I'm going to do 1 or 2 letters for you here. Yeah, so I've done the one, and you can see I'm just trimming off the excess as I go when it overlaps the next letter. And we're going to come back in a second. It's all backed, and now I'm using the leftover bits to put the little bits in the middle back. Just applying a little tiny bit of wet glue and then sticking the middle bits back in, and that is my cut file all done. I decided that the white of the cut file and the patterns of the paper weren't standing out separately enough, so I'm just going to use my thin pen here and outline each of my letters, which is super easy to do. I think I'd leave all of this in, but I think it's sped up a fair bit for you. So you can see I'm just outlining along the inside of each letter, and there was a couple of places where I had to trim some paper off. What I'm doing to make sure I don't go totally crazy with the pen is I kind of lean the tip of my pen up against the edge of the cut file, so it's on a tiny bit of an angle, if that makes any sense. I'm going to stick my background down. I figured while I was getting my cameo to cut, I may as well get it to cut this piece of paper as well, and then I would know exactly where I was cutting my title from. Does that make sense? So I'm just going to go through with my ATG and glue that down. Tell me, I'm preferring the light with this mixed media mat in the background. But what do you think? You guys have to watch. Well, you don't have to watch my videos. You choose to watch my videos. What do you think of the darker background instead of the white? Let me know. This is a me page, so I can't not add mixed media, right? Some silver acrylic paint, watered that down, and I'm just going to add a bunch of splatters. I kind of set up how I was going to have my photo and title on my cutting mat before, and so I'm just splattering where I know the majority of my stuff is going to be. I'm going to pop this aside to dry, and then I'm going to do some work on my layers. I'm going to add a little bit of foam behind my title. I'm pretty sure I've added some foam behind my photo as well. And oh no, I'm going to add in, I think I add the foam last. I'm going to add in a couple of layers of paper behind my photo. I've chosen this tree print because it's got the little hint of green. I've used in the word superheroes, I've used a couple of little hints of green, so I wanted to bring that in as well. And you can see I'm just trying to place that in a way so that I can get that green. I'm not too fussed about it looking like trees. I just wanted the little peak of like I said, the green. So I'm not going to do even borders around this. Okay, so foam, and then I'm going to do my layers. There you go. And I like that I've got that little tiny bit of green peeking through there. I'm going to use this wood grain as well. This is beautiful pattern. I love it. Just going to add that behind there. And then I use one more, and I use this one with the wolves on it. I just like the combination of the mostly white with the darker colours. Once I mat it, you can't tell at all that they're meant to be wolves, which doesn't bother me at all. I like the idea of the pack though. Okay, so you can see here I'm building my page back together. This is kind of what it's going to look like. I'm really happy with how that's coming together. I thought I would start embellishing off the page while the splatter's dried. I found this sticker. This one is a rabbit and it says The Wonder Years. There was an uneven white border, quite a thick white border around the edge, so I stuck that to some scratch paper and trimmed him out. Now I'm just going through the ephemera pack and I find this I think it's 3x4 card. It says remember this, and I'm going to use that for my journaling. I also pulled out a sticker that says find your brave, which I just thought was appropriate for the superhero quote. And my boy is definitely unique. I don't know how well you can see what he's got on there, but I got some sort of delivery and came with bubble wrap, and he decided that he was going to make a cape out of it. So I was like, you got to let me take some photos. He's like, okay, Mum, I'll pose for you. So I'm going to take full advantage of that while I still can. I wanted to bring in some more of this silver, so I'm using some silver thread. Silver seems to be my theme for design team projects for my challenges this month. So stick him on the corner there. The reason that I wanted to use the rabbit is because I don't know if you know, we have a pet rabbit, and I just thought it was cute. Cute little nod to him. I'm going to use my ATG to make sure that sticks, and then I'm coming in now. I don't very often use my ruler to make things straight, but I was quite sure that I wanted this title to be straight, so I am using my ruler and lining that up. And then once that's straight, I can just stick everything else on top of that. I did toy with the idea of overlapping, but I like the little gap that I've got there. I was a little bit concerned that we would end up with some trapped space, but there's not any because there's enough room for, like, there's no actually trapped space. Little boys are just superheroes in disguise. I did Google boys and superheroes or something, and this was the quote that really spoke to me. Without telling too much of his story, because it is his story to tell, not mine, he does have a few extra needs and a few extra difficulties. So I think until you have to deal with kids that need extra, you don't realize how hard they work at life, at just the average things that even I take for granted. So I do look at him, and I do look at him as a little superhero because I can see how hard he tries all the time, and it's not always easy for him. So bless his little cotton socks. Back to my page. I'm I added some more thread behind that sticker, and I'm going to stick this little card down. It's got that darker colour on the top, but it's also got that silver again, which I really like. I'm going to add this back in here. That's enough room for me to do my journaling. Make sure that the thread is just right. If you haven't used this metallic thread, it likes to do its own thing. I wanted to bring in a little bit more embellishment, but I wasn't really sure what. I really liked the green with the kind of pretend green lawn that we've got happening there. It's the beginning of summer and it's hot, and we have a rabbit that digs in the backyard. We don't have the greenest of lawns, but I did want to pick up on that a little bit more. So that strip that I've cut from the paper is, I think it says bring on the weekend or something. So I've cut that out, and I can't remember whose video I watched, but whoever it was, their voice came to me. If you don't like the whole die cut, or the whole sticker, just cut it. It was probably Missy, because I do watch a bit of Missy. The stickers in these new Hide Swap collections are really quite big, so I decided to cut the two label ends off, and I'm tucking them under my layers. I decided to cut off one of those Hello Weekend or whatever it says, and I'm putting one on top of the label, and then the other one I'm sticking right under my title, I like the green, and then bringing the one to the right hand side of the photo, one to the left hand side of the journaling spot gives my visual triangle. I've added an arrow and a couple of silver stars, and that is my page complete. I've also added in my journaling, obviously. So make sure you head over to the Scrap the Boys blog so you can check out all of the amazing design team inspiration. I'm really loving what we've all done this month, and this was a super fun challenge. If you like what you see, please subscribe, leave me a comment. I love hearing from you guys, and I will be back again soon with another share. Thank you so much for stopping by. Have a fantastic scrappy day.